Hey guys, welcome back to what is now our third episode of the top 10 questions. So basically what we're doing is we're answering any questions FDR related. I pick the top 10 questions every other week or whenever we get around to it. And yeah, answer them to the best of my ability. One thing that I did do, thanks to one of the commenters on there, I can't remember who it was at the top of my head here, but I put timestamps for the questions in the description of this video, so if you don't want to listen to me bullshit for too long, you can just click on those links down below, and they'll take you to the exact moments of each question and the explanations of each one. So it's a way to skip time and life hack a little bit if you don't want to wait for the questions. So anyway, we'll kick things right off here. So question number one, what is your favorite machine? And that is from Unwanted GU Patrol. So he's asking, what is your favorite machine? For this game, you know, it's really hard for me to pinpoint an exact machine because I have gone through so many now, modding and playing. It's probably loaders. I really like loaders. I really like the 880. I'm redoing that right now. It's not even out like in the public anymore because I'm redoing a bunch of stuff on it. I really like the Wyvern, which is the new loader that's coming out there. That one's really nice. It's basically the same as the old yellow grapple loader, just a lot prettier looking. So yeah, I like the Wyvern. Yeah, I don't know, bunchers. I love the 909 at the Varkolak. You know, that buncher is one of my favorite. I really like that one. I don't know, like I don't have a particular favorite. It's whatever's doing the job the best at that time is good, and as long as it's working. I definitely have a few that I don't like, but maybe we'll save that for another question. Yeah, no, I'd say probably loaders. I always like loading and playing with logs. It's been my my number one thing. Bunching's okay. I think there's a lot more creativity with loading. Right now I'm working on another mod. Should I reveal it in this? I guess so. I think it probably will come out anyway. I'm working on a delimber right now, like a stroker delimber. And I've tried in the past and it didn't work out, but I have a new plan and I'm pretty sure it's going to work. I'm actually working on that again today, so that should be pretty fun. But yeah, that I possibly, if it works out, could become one of my favorite machines because I've watched them operate for a while and it looks pretty cool. So let's say that might be my favorite machine if it all works out. But I love them all individually. I've spent a lot of time and love into each one of them. So yeah, I don't know, no particular favorite. Next question comes from Devlin. Why do you change the tree weights from, or why did I change the tree weights from the old maps? So the old maps used to have much heavier trees. So when I first built my machines in 2015, the trees were really light and really flaky, and they had a different kind of physics to them. So I used to crank the weights on my machines super high so that they could handle the trees a little bit better. And then in turn, I was able to change the weight of the tree so the physics would react better. In 2017, it's kind of the exact opposite. I started with really heavy weights and really heavy machines for 2017. And it worked for a while, but then they went and updated the engine, so the physics changed a little bit. Not a lot, but enough to make it so that machines that were too heavy couldn't be loaded on trailers. They couldn't do a lot of the things that the normal machines could do. So what happened was I ended up going back and kind of re-looking at everything, and I found out that if I made the trees lighter than what Giants has stock, they're a little bit easier to handle. Then I was able to also bring down the weight of all my machines. So now all those machines that I have can actually be loaded on trailers properly. They react a little more realistically. If you go over 1 ton or 1 point in the rigid body physics, you start to see lots of glitches with the game. Like the tires don't like it, suspensions don't like it. It's definitely just turns out to be a lot worse. So yeah, well, I just decided when I'm going forward with the new maps, I tested out the physics very thoroughly for about a week, on and off, loading trailers, unloading trailers, loading more trailers with these logs, and I found the best physics to be right where they are right now for the time being, unless I discover something new. But this is the best I've had it, and it reacts well with the machines as well. So yeah, the reason the weights changed is to make a better experience for you guys, so that when you're loading and unloading stuff, it works properly. So yeah, kind of answers that question, I think. What's next here? Question number 4. Why is there no sound on live streams? Okay, so this is a good question. I have a lot to say about live streams. So first of all, I'll get that out of the way. The reason why there is no sound on live streams when I did have them is because YouTube likes to copyright strike anything that uses music that's not yours, which is, you know, reasonable. I mean, you're technically recording and making views off someone else's content. So what they've done is they've gone and made it so anybody who's playing music of any kind that's not, you know, stuff you've created or free music, they'll put a ban on your video and block it worldwide. So that means nobody can watch the videos, nobody can watch the live streams. If you're even having that content while you're playing, a lot of the times the live stream will stop right in the middle of it for most people just because they detect that copyright content. So what I did in turn was I just muted all my streams because I didn't talk on them anyway. I just listened to music while I'm modding and did my own thing. So I would mute the streams and there would be no audio at all. Then what started happening just recently, which is kind of put an end to my streaming, they're even blocking the muted videos saying that there's copyrighted content in them. So there's some kind of glitch in the system clearly. For live streaming, but I'm like, if the stream's muted, I don't know how there could be copyrighted audio in it if there's no sound at all, but for some reason the system's getting all these false positives for YouTube and blah 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 blah. But you know, to go right over all of that question, that answers that question. So I'm not going to be live streaming my modding anymore. Actually, you'll notice if you look at my channel, it's changed drastically. So I've gotten rid of a lot of content that I considered to be low quality or you know, not super decent quality. So all of my modding streams, I used to just have my channel packed full of these identical looking files with muted audio, and you know, it's cool to some people to watch me do modding and all that kind of stuff, but it really clogs the channel up with a bunch of garbage videos that a lot of people don't watch, and there's not really much to them. I mean, you can only watch somebody, you know, sprinkle trees on a map for so long with no audio before you, like, you know, feel like you're done, right? So I decided, you know, going forward, I'm not going to live stream that content anymore. One, because it clogs up the channel with, you know, low quality content. Two, it, yeah, not a lot of people are watching it. You know, you get a few viewers here and there, but that, and I also like to surprise you guys with new stuff that's coming. And I found a lot of the time when I'd live stream, I'd be working on a project that I wasn't even close to being done, and you know, people would be like, "Oh man, I heard about the new, you know, this coming out or the new whatever coming out," and I was like, "Oh damn!" I was like, "Yeah, I forgot that I was actually live streamed that. I kind of wanted it to be a surprise, you know." So I kind of ruined surprises for a lot of people. But at the same time, if I was working on a project modding and live streaming it, sometimes I'll start a project and I'll play around with it and tinker, and it just doesn't work out. It just, you know, I'll spend 7 to 12 hours on it playing around, and I get to the final finish line, and you know, like, yeah, I decide this isn't good enough. You know, this if I release this, it might work for a couple people, but overall, it's not good quality. It doesn't produce the way it should. So a lot of the times, I just backburner it. I throw it in a prototype folder, and I just leave it there. And maybe I'll revisit it one day. Maybe I won't. But if I'm modding it on a live stream, then you guys get the impression that's coming, like it's going to be here soon kind of thing, you know, like, oh man, he's working on that now, it must be ready to come out. And that's never the fact. Like, if I'm working on something on a live stream, you probably won't see it for like 2 to 3 months, just because there's so much testing that has to go into making sure it's finalized, and then it just goes to Patreons and then they can play with it. But there's a lot that has to go through the mods to make them, you know, functional. There's a lot of testing. So I think that's the main reason I really wanted to get rid of the live streaming, was just because, yeah, you know, like I was doing all these mods, and people were like, "Oh, what about that mod? You know, you had the long log trailer, or you had this, or you had that," and I was like, "Yeah, it didn't work out." So, you know, I hate building false expectations for people when I'm modding. So, going forward, no more live streams for modding. You guys know what I do. You've watched the videos. You've seen what I do in modding and all that kind of fun stuff. Maybe I'll do tutorials in the future or something to kind of show instead of just the regular stuff. But yeah, going forward, so no live streaming anymore. You won't see that on the channel. You'll also see the channel has changed drastically probably by now. The icons are a lot more gaudy. There's a lot more, you know, they're bright and a little bit more fun. I think it's fun because it makes the channel look a little bit more, I don't know, brighter, a little bit less miserable. I had like before and after screenshots of my channel, like when I had it before, and it was really kind of like, I don't know, it's like going from Windows 98 to Windows 10, you know, you kind of have like a little bit of a poshy upgrade. I realize that some of the thumbnails are a little like ridiculous, but yeah, I was talking to the to Grant there from the squad. We finally met up and had a conversation there, which was great because I've been meaning to talk to him for a while now. And yeah, we talked about thumbnails and we kind of gave each other pointers on things. And yeah, one of the things that had always been lacking on my channel is thumbnails. So for a while back there, I would just copy paste the same image for every thumbnail because I just didn't care, right? I was like, whatever, you know, people will watch it or they won't. It doesn't really matter to me. But now that I'm actually paying a little bit more attention to the channel, I go back and I look at that stuff and I'm like, you know, we could make it look a little bit more fun. So although I've kind of become what I promised I never would become with the crazy looking clickbaity thumbnails, I've noticed a huge increase in traffic, a huge increase in you know, subscribers. Everything's gone up since I've done that. So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of leave it as is and kind of have fun with it. Making ridiculous thumbnails is also very entertaining. So, oh look, a floating tree. You gotta fix that. Oh, I can't remember where I am here. Anyway, but yeah, sorry, I really diverted off that question for the live streaming. But yeah, that's kind of how that is. No more live streaming, at least not for that stuff for the time being. So, next question before I really get off track here. Oh, this was a good one. So this was from Tucker430. He said, "Would you ever sell your gaming chair?" So it's not really sellable. I mean, if somebody really desperately wanted it, I could probably sell it to them. But no, I don't really want to sell it because it's set up kind of a particular way. I'm actually looking at buying another one. So what I might do is, if I do buy a new one and start building it, I guess, or rebuilding a chair, I'm going to do videos showing you how I build my chair from the ground up and what I ordered and how I did it. Just for fun, like, I don't know, some people might be interested, some people might not be. But, yeah, what I'm also going to do is a video of this chair to show you guys. I used to have one, but I don't know where the hell it is now. I think I might have deleted it a while back, but I have in the golden oldies pile there, I have a video showing off my chair that I used to have. Or it might be the chair I have now, but it was a little different then. But this one I'm going to make, this video is going to kind of be a little bit more of how it's built and kind of go into the details of it. I don't have an ETA on when that's going to happen, but yeah, we'll see here. Controls are always fun doing, and setting up your own little world is always entertaining, so. So yeah, no, I'm not selling my chair, but if I ever build a new one, I'll let you know. And then you can buy this one. It'd be perfect. And I'll throw it in a box for you and ship it to you. Okay, anyway, next question. This is question number 6, and it comes from multiple people. This has been a question for a long time. They want to know if they can join multiplayer FDR logging. So right now, literally within the past week, Chad, partner Chad there, has created a server, dedicated server based out of his own home with his own computer and his own setup there. And he's running a server right now for Patreons. So if you're a Patreon of FDR Logging, you have access or will have access to this right now if you want to go take a look at that. Basically, you can come on, log. We haven't actually done much yet. We're just kind of starting up and figuring out mods and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we're going to try that out and see how it goes. But that's kind of as far as I'd really like to take it for public. I don't think there'll be much else for that. Oh, another floating tree. This is a beta map, by the way, so I haven't gone through and actually done the trees yet. So the more trees I find, just ignore that. I'm marking them down in my head where they are here. But yeah, so I guess, yeah, if you want to join multiplayer, you got to go through Patreon for now. I don't have any public stuff opening up, at least not in the near future. Let's see here. What is this? Number 7. Okay, here we are. So question number 7, can you make the trees look more realistic? And that's from Overwhelming Dodo. Make the trees look more realistic. Well, I wish I could. Unfortunately, the game renders them at a particular amount. So I could technically increase the texture sizes, and make them more detailed, but the problem is you're going to see a huge performance hit if I do that. Like ridiculously high performance hit. You're going to see pretty much... Oh my god, look at all these floating trees. Sorry. I don't have my script anymore, so I think I might just retree this whole map. I'm disgusted by how many are not in the right place. Anyway, god, I just totally lost my train of thought. I'm looking at these trees. I gotta stop that. Make the trees more realistic. That's why we were talking about trees. So yeah, if I increase the texture size to like 4K quality, the problem is the performance is going to drop right off the face of the earth because it's going to render all these trees in 4K. And you think if your computer's slow now, man, you would imagine what it's going to be then. So I don't have any plans. I always change the textures and try to make them look a little different, but I don't have any particular plans for for making them look any different more so than they are now. All right, let's see here. Oh, sorry, 1 second here. Oh, sorry, just getting over a cold, so I keep having these little coughing fits here. Let's see here. So, number 8, how can I improve my FPS with your mods? So he wants to know how he can improve his frames per second with the mods that he has right now. So your frames per second, if you don't know what that is basically how smooth your game's rendering. So right now we're sitting at 60 frames a second. You know, it's got this really nice smooth look to it. If you're modding or if you're playing with mods and you find it's really choppy, like your screen's chopping along while you're looking around, like really slow, that means your frame rate's very low. In that case, if your frame rate is super low, usually it's due to the computer not being able to perform as good. You know, you can always upgrade your computer, that kind of stuff. With my mods, I'm constantly trying to optimize them to make them better, but I've found now at the level that I have my mods, they're just equivalent to Giants. They're almost identical to the Giants mods that are in there. So you won't see any giant performance drops anymore compared to like the old ones that used to have a lot of scripting issues and stuff. These ones are definitely leaps and bounds over performance-wise. The new V11 stuff that'll be coming out here within the next month or so will definitely be a huge improvement over previous versions. So even those ones alone will be a performance jump. So you'll see frame rate increase for that. In general, if you want to increase your frame rate, lower your graphics settings. You know, turn them down, turn down object distance. You know, turn down everything in your graphics settings and just kind of tinker with it until you find a happy medium where it can work for you. But for the time being, I would say, yeah, that's pretty much all you can do. Other than that, I'm not really sure what else there is, you know, fixing-wise that can be done. Buy a better computer, upgrade your graphics card. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much about it. Let's see here. Let's keep moving right along. Number 9. What is the most challenging map and why? And that's from Mike T. Okay, let's see here. So what is the most challenging map? Like map I've built, I assume is the question. What's the most challenging map I've ever worked on? Probably Sitka. Actually, Sitka's got some really wacky terrain in that bugger. Really hard to plow through a lot of those areas. Sitka was really hard. 2015 Lumber Valley was actually pretty tricky. There's some spots. This one I think will be kind of tricky. There's some interesting areas to get to. Where else did we do? Emerald Valley. Emerald Valley wasn't too hard per se. Okay, Emerald Valley was hard when you got close to the mountain and the lake. Once you got up in there, that was some rough going. But you know, they all have their easy spots and their hard spots. I don't think there's one particular map that's like super challenging over all the other maps. I would say it's probably, yeah, I'd say it's probably just per area based on each map. So I don't know. The more you explore, the more you'll find more challenging areas or less challenging areas. So yeah, that kind of sums that up a little bit. So pick a map and find your own challenges. That's kind of how she goes. What do we got here? Okay, number 10. Holy crap, we're already at 10. This is from AJ Deer at T680. AJ Deer T680. What does the FDR stand for in FDR Logging? So, FDR stands for First Day Reviews. And First Day Reviews used to be my very first YouTube channel. And what I did is I basically did these really wacky video game reviews, and I did written journals. The first one I ever wrote was for a game on Steam called The Forest. So if you go on Steam and look at the reviews, mine's actually one of like the top ones of all time or whatever the heck there. So what I did is I wrote this really weird, wacky journal entry style review where I told kind of my experience of the game from a first person perspective of the actual character living in the game. It's almost like a story based on the character. It's really weird. Basically, it's really tiny. It's like 7 journal entries where I'm like, you know, just landed on the beach, area looks weird. Now, you know, set up camp, hearing weird noises. You know, I can't remember what it actually said, but there's like all this weird way I used to do it. So what I did is I made that review just for fun one day, and I was just laughing, you know, like, haha, this will be funny. And frickin' that sucker blew up, and I had like 7,000 like likes or whatever the hell Steam gives you, or upvotes for that review. And I was like, holy cow! And I got all these messages from these like hundreds of people and comments, and just people going, man, that's amazing. You should, you know, you should really write like more of these. I'd love to read more of your stuff. And I was like, well, I'm not a reviewer. I made that up for fun. Like I wasn't actually trying to do anything with it. So I thought that was really funny. And then all of a sudden I'm like, well, you know, I could try it for another game, I guess, just for fun. So what I did is I kind of started creating all these little reviews for all these video games on Steam. I still have a bunch on there. But yeah, I had all these little reviews that were like all journal entry style. And it's funny because when I did that, it got really popular for a long time. And then I started seeing other people write like reviews, like copying it and putting them in there. I thought that was so funny. Because I'd like come across, I'm like, oh, I don't remember writing this one. And then I realized, I was like, oh, that's not mine. Somebody else did it the same style. I'm like, that's awesome. So flattery is definitely, you know, copying people is probably the most flattering thing. I love when I see people doing what I do and using that system or using that style. It's pretty fun. So anyway, long story short, after going through that whole process of, you know, doing the reviews over and over, eventually somebody said, dude, why don't you make videos? Like, why don't you just do video reviews instead of these written ones? And I was like, oh, I've never done a YouTube video before. I've never recorded anything before, so I don't know. So I tried it just for fun to see kind of how it would go. And my first few videos were pretty rough. Like, well, as any new thing, you got to figure it out, right? But yeah, you know, I told all the people on Steam, I said, hey, you know, if you're interested in, instead of just watching or reading the reviews, come watch my kooky little reviews that I do. And, you know, like I said, it was really slow for the first bit. I kind of did the odd review here and there, and, you know, you got like a few hundred people watching it, not really big views or anything like that. And then, yeah, I came across VR one day, like virtual reality, the Oculus and the Vive and all that stuff. Well, it was the Oculus at the time, the dev kits that they had. So I started doing reviews with my VR dev kit. And there wasn't many people doing that at the time, so that really took off really fast. People, like, just dying to hear these reviews. You know, you get, like, 20 to 50,000 views on these videos, and I was like, holy crap, like, that's crazy. Like, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, I did that for, like, I don't know, about a year, just doing reviews, and the channel got, like, really big then. I think I was, well, I mean, like, big compared to what it was then. Like, I started with 100 subscribers, and then within 6 months, I had, like, 3,000 or something like that, and I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. Eventually, the trend of doing reviews for videos died off for me. I just kind of, I don't know, it was just boring to me. I was just like, you know, new games, you got to learn a new system, and it didn't feel like I was really invested in any of the games. It always felt like I would just start a game, do my 20-minute, 30-minute review, and then poof, you know, I had to close the game and get out, and I never, you know, continue to make content on those games. So one day I came across simulations, and I got lost in simulations. I started doing, I started with Farming Simulator 2013, and I actually still have some old videos from 2013 in the Golden Oldies playlist on FDR Logging. Pretty funny stuff. I look back and look when I first started, I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe how long ago that was. But so I did the logging there for a long while, just trying it out and kind of learning and getting into it. And then I really got hooked on the logging. I loved it, like to the point where I was ignoring the first day reviews things entirely just so I could play like this and Euro Truck and, you know, farming and spin tires and that kind of stuff. And I just completely ignored the review side to the point where I was just like, I'm done with the review side. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. It's not fun for me. It feels like it was a job, more of a chore, you know. I just didn't like it. So I made the big announcement one day that, you know what? Hey guys, guess what? I'm not doing the reviews anymore. I'm gonna be strictly doing simulation stuff. And man, did I get a whipping for that. I lost probably, well, I mean, everybody was there for game reviews, not for the simulation. So I lost a very big chunk of my fan base, and I kind of figured I would. I just didn't really care anymore. I was like, whatever. I lost probably 2,000 subs literally just because of that. And then I was back down to like, you know, 1,400 people or something, and most of them were just kind of hanging out and watching. But yeah, I did simulation videos and VR videos, and then I got hooked on Farming Simulator, and I started modding in 2015 because 2015 came out, and you know that's when I decided, hey, let's start modding and trying it out. So I started modding, and yeah, long story short, I got just crazy into modding, and then I decided, well, why don't we make this channel completely about logging, like completely about logging. Let's completely cut out everything related to every other game and just do Farming Simulator, just do Logging Simulation. Let's do that for the whole thing. And at first I thought, man, that's a crazy idea. I don't think that's going to be very smart. I'm going to lose everybody then. So you know, it's like a gamble. You take a gamble to test out to see what's going to happen, and I did. So I said, you know what, screw it, I'm done everything except for logging. And that kind of killed the subs for a little bit. Like, I lost probably another 500 people that just didn't want to be part of that. And then, yeah, suddenly I went into logging, and the fan base started growing back and growing back and growing back, and the mods got bigger and more popular, and then, yeah, it kind of brought us to here. But the name FDR has always stand for First Day Reviews, which is what, in my opinion, started everything that you're seeing now. Everything that has come of this started with First Day Reviews from one review for a game called The Forest, which is also ironic because we're logging now, so... Yeah, I don't know. It's a neat little story. I know it's a long-winded story, so most of you probably like rolled your eyes back and left through that explanation, but that's okay. I understand. So yeah, First Day Reviews was the review group, and now it's First Day Reviews without the First Day Reviews. We are now FDR Logging, and forever shall known be as... I could have changed the name of it, but I don't know. It's a special place in my little heart, so I wanted to keep it related to it. And no, most people don't care what the name stands for anyway, so... But yeah, anyway, I have talked your damn ears off to the point where they're probably bleeding or you're unconscious under your tables right now, so I will call it there. So thanks for, if you dared to stay this long and listen to every word that I've said. Yeah, leave a comment below, leave a like, whatever you want there. Let me know what you think. If you have any more questions, I keep piling these questions up for the next videos, so if you guys have anything else you want to talk about, definitely shoot it into the comments or send me a message, and I will answer them and ask the questions in these videos to answer them in the future. But yeah, so thanks a lot for tuning in for episode 3 here. We'll see what happens for the 4th one. Thanks a lot. We'll see you later.